Well, we have talked about the potential for this offense on the Vikings team, but really we're only halfway there. Let's move on to defense. We have new guys on this squad, such as Jonathan Allen, and we've also lost some members. Particularly, I'm sad about Cam Bynum, Cam Beasley, big fan of his, but I digress. There's, of course, the return of the Swiss Army knife that is Joshua Metellus and the edge rusher duo in Grenard and Van Ginkel. Guys, I could go on about Cashman, Pace, Murphy, but I'll let you guys do it. Phil, start telling me why I have nothing to worry about in this Flores defense.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't know if you have nothing to worry about, but there's a lot to be excited about. And we'll start with our safeties here. We currently have 4 safeties listed on the 53-man roster. And, of course, I have to start off with the immortal, the inevitable, the Hitman. He's returning for his 14th season, donning the purple and gold. And I love this man so much. He's going to continue to be a crucial leader and just a dynamic chess piece in this Flores defense. In my opinion, Harris, it's so hard for me just not to call him Hitman.
He could be his own episode.
Love this guy.
Love this guy. He's a legend. But as I was saying, he's going to be a crucial leader. And really what I think Smith is, he's kind of just the master of disguise. He's been in the league for 13 years. He has seen it all. And so really he's kind of such a great guy for Brian Flores to have lead this group of men. And he's got some young guys around him in this position group. But I think the reason why you've seen such great play from Joshua Metellus in recent years and Cameron Bynum is because of Harrison Smith and that veteran leadership that he brings. Now, last year he recorded 56 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, 10 passes defended. Overall, what Harrison Smith brings is I really just emphasize the leadership element and getting guys on the same page. I think it is just so crucial for him to be returning year in and year out. It just seems like this guy won't go away, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm just thrilled that Harrison is coming back for another season. It's just kind of crazy to me how long he's been doing it for. So props to Harrison for coming back. Now, next in line, we have, as I just mentioned, Joshua Metellus. Mm-hmm. And I liked how you put the Swiss Army knife kind of, because that's a perfect descriptor for this guy. He was our 2020 6th-round draft choice, and he's coming off this last offseason. We extended him to a 3-year, $36 million contract, and in my opinion, it's very well-deserved. This is someone who has been primarily a special teamer in his first few years with us, but Metellus has flourished under Brian Flores. Although he's listed as a safety, he has played just about every position on this defense, and he's played it at a high level as well. You're not seeing a whole lot of safeties bouncing around as much as this guy is. Since Brian Flores became DC, Josh Metellus has started 27 games and played over 90% of the defensive snaps. So this is a crucial piece in this backfield, and thrilled to have Metellus back. I think he's going to have... So my prediction with this group is I think Metellus is going to have a career season this year. He's really going to step into his own, which he kind of already has, but with the departure of Cam Bynum, I think Metellus is really going to step it up again. And oh man, it's so hard for me not to talk about fantasy because in our league we have individual defensive players, and I really wanted Metellus just about how much he flies around the field and his tackling and just everything he does.
And off the field, too. He's a huge culture guy.
He is. You have the Tellus with Metellus. Just a great content type deal. Now, it's not really important to us winning games, but, he's a great culture guy.
It's important
fun
to
guy.
the team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think.
He's bringing the guys together, and I love that. I think that's huge. You don't have a whole lot of other teams doing goofy videos in the locker room together, bringing them together. And, but above all else, he's just an excellent, excellent player in this defense. And, year 3 with Brian Flores, I think he's going to turn into another beast, and it's going to be something to behold. Now, next in line here, we have Theo Jackson. He's going to be kind of stepping into that Cam Bynum role after we let go of him. Beasley was signed to the Colts. Now, Theo Jackson, he's a 2022 6th-round draft pick out of Tennessee, or from Tennessee, should I say, is where he was drafted in the 6th round. He's not really contributed that much as a safety during his time in Minnesota. He's kind of primarily been a special teamer. But from what I recall in his last couple of years here, I have seen the explosiveness out of him, especially on those kick returns and him just flying into a dude and leveling their ass. I think he's he plays with tenacity. He is he's a hard player, and they obviously have to feel good about him with letting Cam Bynum walk. So very curious to see how Theo Jackson performs. Now, behind Theo Jackson, we have Jay Ward, which is a guy who I think is also very intriguing. He's our 2023 round 4 draft pick, and this guy's coming out of LSU. He's looked very good in the preseason, and kind of similar to Theo Jackson. He plays fast with lots of tenacity. I'm also curious to see what we have to see from Jay Ward. Although, it's kind of a similar type deal with Theo Jackson. We haven't really seen him have many starts at safety or anything with Minnesota, but I'm excited to see what we have to see from Jay Ward. He did good in the preseason, and I'm a believer. So, that's pretty much the safety room. Now, I'm slightly concerned about our safety depth once you get behind Metellus, with Jay Ward and Theo Jackson. I think, those are intriguing players, but could they step in should Smith or Metellus go down? I'm not quite sure yet. That's kind of something TBD. Really hoping that, based on the defensive staff feeling comfortable enough to, let Bynum go, as I said. We'll see how these guys do. But, so let's get into our corners now. We currently have just 4 cornerbacks on the roster. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit shaky here. We're going to start with the best. We have Byron Murphy Jr. coming back again to start for us. This is a guy, he's 27 years young, and I believe this year he's going to be entering his prime. He's been our most consistent corner since joining the team in 2023. Last year, he recorded 62 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 14 passes defended, and he had a career high in 6 interceptions, and that's actually tied for 3rd in the league among cornerbacks last year. So had a great year with us last year. 73.5 PFF coverage grade. That's 18th among cornerbacks. This is a guy that I think is crucial that he stays healthy. As I said earlier, it's a little bit shaky when we start going down after Byron Murphy. Really, really hoping that this guy stays healthy in our backfield because, as I said, he's just been so consistent for us. I think he's going to have, dare I say, an even better year than last year with those 6 interceptions. He's really important that, stays on his P's and Q's and doesn't get injured. Now, behind him, we have Isaiah Rodgers, which was our free agent signing in this offseason out of Philly. Last season, he finished with a 73.2 PFF coverage grade, a little bit below Murph's. That was 24th among quarterbacks. However, he did post an 83.4 run defense grade, which is exciting considering, we had a few preseason games where Flores was dialing up all these corner blitzes or corner what have you. I think having a player that can also help defend in the run in the backfield out there is a definite plus for us. Rodgers, in his year with Philly last year, played 15 games. Now, he only finished with 26 combined tackles, 0 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. So as a guy who's presumably our cornerback 2 here, he's going to need to step it up this year. And I've heard good things out of training camp with him and in this offseason. So I am hoping that, having a guy that was on a winning team last year that won the Super Bowl, I think he's going to be able to come in and under Flores and under our defensive coaching, hopefully we'll have a really great season. And moving on from him, Jeff Okudah, the former third-round pick who was acquired in this offseason for us. Now, he is still looking to prove himself worthy of where he was drafted. So far in his career, I believe he just hasn't realized his potential. He's bounced around a little bit, spent his first 3 years in Detroit, who drafted him, before spending 1 year in Atlanta, and then followed that with 1 year in Houston. In his career so far, Okudah has only recorded 2 interceptions and 1 forced fumble in his 5 years in the league. So there just hasn't been a whole lot of production from Jeff. That's kind of why he's bounced around quite a bit. What you've been hearing in training camp is that he's kind of had this late resurgence and kind of playing like how he did coming out of college and not coming out of college, but, towards the end of his college career, which made him the 3rd overall pick. We've heard good things from him. So, yeah, the positive noise from training camp suggests that he's playing above those standards, which he's pretty much, had as his precedent. So, really hoping Jeff Okudah steps up here. I really just don't know what exactly to expect from Jeff Okudah. I've heard good things. I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, I can get to the name I've been waiting to talk about here. My guy, Dwight Nudie McGlothern, 2024 UDFA selection out of Arkansas. I just won't shut up about this guy, and I'm not going to stop. It goes without saying, I'm a fully fledged Nudie believer. I think this guy is something special, and I'll just keep saying it, even if it's kind of a goofy take. That's just one that I'm going to own here, and I will follow it to my grave. Despite only recording, this is funny, despite recording 1 singular pass defense in 5 appearances last year, I think he is the wild card in this cornerback room, more so than Jeff Okudah. This is a legend in the making, guys. Take it from me. He has a great attitude. If you watch some of the team videos and whatnot that you'll see on Vikings YouTube, it's very apparent, and this isn't hyperbole, that he has great team chemistry with the guys in that defensive room. They're always rating him like the funniest guy on the roster, and while I'm not saying that, wow, he's such a funny guy, that's why he's going to be so legendary. No, he's a funny guy who gets along well with these guys, hasn't had the opportunity to really make a name for himself, but guess what? He is wearing 29 this season, Lucas. And I think this is going to be...
I haven't seen that number in years.
I think
Throwing up.
Throw it up. Hey, we're going to see the rebirth of the roads closed era once Nudie gets plugged in there.
Make Xavier proud.
Make Xavier proud. And I think they're going to have no choice but to start him. It's going to be Byron Murphy and Nudie McGlothern starting corners by week. Should I say week?
Playoffs.
By the playoffs? Yeah. I'd say that's accurate. I was going to go earlier, but for sure, playoffs. For sure. Lock it in here. You heard it here first. So...
Heard it here and only here.
And only here. I haven't heard a lot of people just giving this guy his flowers, even though he has really done nothing to deserve any flowers. But Dwight, Nudie, McGlothern. Yeah, I guess I should say that in the preseason, he had 3 days where he can. I think we mentioned this on the pod a few weeks ago. He had those 3 interceptions from 3 of our quarterbacks. So I'm gonna stop rambling about Nudie here. I love the guy. He's gonna finish by the end of the season right next to Byron Murphy as that CB2. So, in my opinion, I think the cornerback room, which is what I kind of said to start this, this is the shakiest of the entire roster, despite my love for Nudie. I can't see Kwesi at this point in time signing anyone this close to game 1. That's kind of just too short of a span to get somebody ready and whatnot. And it kind of just seems like they're all in on these guys for the time being. So should there be consistent struggles in our secondary throughout the season? And if that just happens to be offset by really great offensive production, I would not be surprised, guys, if we see the Vikings be buyers before the trade deadline and bring in another experienced cornerback to help solidify that secondary. So those are my thoughts on this defense, guys. What do you have to say about the secondary, Lucas?
I'm grading this secondary a C-. This is our worst position group. Here's some of my thoughts on the depth, at least. I don't see it as a situation where Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus are the starters. I think Harrison Smith has been worked more rotationally in the last couple of years, whereas I thought Metellus and Cam Bynum were the true starters at safety last year, and Harrison Smith was out there a really solid amount as well. They ran a lot of big nickel. And what big nickel is when you have 2 corners, and instead of a third corner to make it a normal nickel, you run a third safety out there. So often last year, we saw the combination of Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, and Cam Bynum on the field at the same time. I think we see that same thing with Theo Jackson. So don't slot in Theo as a backup. He's a starter. He's going to be out there all the time. He's the free safety.
Well, absolutely. I brought up Harrison Smith because it's just the most prominent name in that safety group.
He's awesome, and he's still going to be great. He's a legend. Let me just finish this thought here. The only backup that you have at safety, because the other 3 are starters, is Jay Ward.
Yeah.
And can Jay Ward do the things that these 3 players can do?
We don't know.
I don't know. I've seen Theo Jackson step in and make some plays, but is he going to bring the same energy that Cam Bynum did? Is he going to make the same plays that Cam Bynum did? Cam Bynum was seriously a guy for us last year, just somebody that uplifted the whole team and went out there and balled out week after week. We love Cam Bynum, and it's tough to see him go. At corner, I'm looking at a few guys that I believe slot in best at the slot corner position. Okay. Isaiah Rodgers is a good player, but I don't know if he's an outside corner. I feel like he's more of a physical nickel corner kind of guy. So who am I looking at for our week 1 starters? Is it Byron Murphy and Jeff Okudah? I'm not so sure about that. I like Byron Murphy. Jeff Okudah, I want him to have a resurgent year. Dwight McGlothern, I want him to be future Hall of Famer with Dwight McGlothern. But we just haven't seen it. There is not depth on this team. I don't know what they're going to do. Even with 1 or 2 injuries, you're looking at possibly the worst secondary in the league. I don't understand. If Metellus goes down, if Byron Murphy goes down, I mean, you are looking at a really, really weak position group. I'm sorry to say, I love these guys. I love everyone that we talked about. But as a whole, they need more. They need to go out and get an elite corner. Go trade for one. Trade away your first round pick. I do not care. Go get a shutdown corner. Texans, I'm looking at you. We want Derek Stingley Jr.
Oh, man, would I love it.
Give you our 2nd and 3rd next year for Derek Stingley Jr. Send him our way.
Real quick thought here. I do feel like that they just have to feel mightily strong about our pass rush with having it be that thin. And, it could be something that we're seeing Dallas Turner and Gink and Grenard just balling out like crazy. And these quarterbacks just have no time, to the point where I don't want to say it like this, but like it doesn't necessarily matter that we're so thin at cornerback. Now, that might be a dumb take, but
I think it's a really smart take. I think, with our front seven, which is our next talking point here, with them being as solid as they are, I think it covers up a whole lot of stink that could be going on in the secondary. So, Alana, what do you grade out this secondary? What do you think?
I'm keeping it short and sweet. B-. I'm optimistic our leaders won't go down. But let's move on to that front seven that you mentioned. The fronts mentioned.
Yeah.
New word. The front seven of a 3-4 base defense involves 3 run-stopping linemen, 2 edge rushing linebackers, and 2 off-ball linebackers. Let's start with our awesome edge rushers. Who wants to take that one and talk about Grenard and Gink?
I got this front seven here. So Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel are our star edge rushers from last season. Both of them were signed as free agents. Jonathan Grenard got a pretty good deal, 4-year, $76 million deal. This is a 6-year man out of Florida University by way of the Texans. This guy signed here last year and had a breakout season. First-time Pro Bowler, 12 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He's a tenacious, relentless pass rusher. And after the postseason loss last year, he was quoted as saying, "More is required," which has now become this team's motto for the season. More is required. And who is at the forefront of that? Who is the leader of this team and that mindset is our guy, Jonathan Grenard. He's a team captain, and I love to hear this kind of stuff from our team captain. I think his attitude and the way that he approaches the game is going to rub off on everybody. Jonathan Grenard was a elite signing in free agency last year, but he's still not my favorite player on the team. That's Andrew Van Ginkel, 7-year out of Wisconsin, but previously at the University of South Dakota, which is the alma mater of our very own Phil and Alanis.
Real quick fun fact, I did get to see our boy Ginky play when I went to USD, and I didn't even know who that guy was at the point. I just went to the game, ended up coming to the Vikings later. I find out, oh my God, Andrew Van Ginkel was here while I was, and I was sitting in the dome in Vermilion at USD watching a former just straight up gank.
A future legend.
Future former, yeah. What am I? Just gank. He's got me all
He's
tongue tied. He's a great guy.
You probably walked by him on the way to class. Can you imagine if you could have just known? You could have stopped in, grabbed a picture. That's the gank man, bro. We work with a guy who. I'm not going to mention that story.
Okay, all right.
Another episode.
I will touch on it a little bit. I'll shout out our coworker Austin, who is from the same hometown as Andrew Van Ginkel, and what he tells me from that time at Rock Rapids, Iowa. This Andrew Van Ginkel did it all. He was the quarterback, he was the running back, the receiver, all at the same time. Somehow, some way. He was the safety. He was the corner. He was the edge rusher. This guy played all over the field. He knows every position in football, which to me makes him the smartest guy on our defense. He plays the game like he always knows what's coming next. And I really think that does stem from his time playing all those different positions in a small town in Iowa. He really knows the game well. And that's why you see him step in front of those screen passes. It's like a freak of nature play that he returned both of those interceptions for touchdowns last year. Edge rushers don't get interceptions. He had 2 for touchdowns last year, along with 11 and a half sacks and 1 forced fumble. This guy is a menace to offenses all over the league. You have to pay attention to where number 43 is, otherwise he'll ruin the play. Who else do they have at edge rusher? They got Bo Richter, last year's first-round pick Dallas Turner, and new UDFA, Chaz Chamblis.
I think I
he's
heard
a really
Chambly
solid
somewhere.
Chardonnay. Huge opportunity for Richter and Chamblis.
Yeah, I'll just let you say however you want to.
But Turner needs to prove himself. You know, I think these guys are all going to get snaps. It's going to be a rotation. Everybody's going to need to play this year. Turner's the one who I need to see something from. This guy has got to come out and give me 8 sacks this year plus. I need to see some real game wrecking shit from Dallas Turner. I want to see it so bad when you spend a first round draft pick on a guy that's supposed to come in and be a game changer for you. I understand he's behind Ginkle and he's behind Grenard, but be so versatile, be so talented that they just have to find a way to get him on the field. Make it be so. I don't know. Turner, I need to see you step
real
up.
quick,
I'm so
this
excited.
is a guy who was supposed to be a top 10 draft pick had there not been that kind of unprecedented run of offensive players that we saw last year. And I believe he was the second defensive player taken off the board. So had teams not been so needy on offense that year, this is a probable top 10 pick in the, which, it doesn't really matter like where someone's drafted necessarily, but he is a very, very extremely talented guy.
He was a monster for Alabama.
Absolutely.
Speaking of monsters out of Alabama, Jonathan Allen.
Oh,
Free agent signing from the Washington, formerly known as Redskins, formerly known as football team, now known as Commanders, will soon be known as Comrades. Jonathan Allen is a 9-year defensive tackle out of Alabama, where he was an All-American and SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Also is a national champion. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler for Washington, and he didn't miss a single game from 2018 to 2023, where he was averaging about 7, 8, or 9 sacks a year in that span. He was always in that range, and he was always solid for them. Unfortunately, last year did come off of a tough injury-plagued season. He's fully healthy now, and I think what the Vikings got is a tough-nosed run stopper and a much-needed veteran presence on this D-line. Jonathan Allen is a man, and he's going to play with some grown man strength. He's going to push people around, stuff up them holes, and really not allow big gashing runs. So I think him, in addition to our other free agent, Javon Hargrave, are going to make for a very formidable defensive tackle duo. That's a 9th-year man out of South Carolina. Hargrave has been all over the place playing on great defenses. I'm talking the Steelers, Eagles, and most recently the 49ers. He's a veteran D lineman with 2 Pro Bowl seasons under his belt, including 2022 when he had 11 sacks from the defensive tackle position. That's Aaron Donald numbers. That's serious disruption from the inside of the defensive line. Most of the time when we think of players sacking the quarterback, we're thinking about guys like Grenard coming off the edge. This guy is pushing through double teams to get to sacks, and I really think that he can be a dominating presence on the inside.
Javon Hargrave's been a player that's been on my radar for years. I've just loved what I've seen out of him just in games that I'm watching like recaps of and years prior. Like I've always thought he's a dog, and just the fact we have him now, I think, dare I say, I don't know if he'll have even a bigger impact than Jonathan Allen. I think both guys in tandem are going to do excellent, but I'm such a firm Javon Hargrave believer. I mean, this guy's nickname is the Grave Digger, so it's like
it's hard. That's hard, and I hope he does dig some graves for us this year. Similar to Jonathan Allen, he did not play very many games in 2024. I think it was 6 or 7 games that he actually did play. Ton of injuries. Unfortunate for the 49ers last year. They weren't as competitive as they were in 2023. But I think Javon Hargrave still has gas left in the tank, just like Jonathan Allen does. These guys are legit and really filled a need for us in the interior. I mean, the last couple of years, we've just been getting pushed around. It seems like it's easy for teams to run on us, and that is kind of been the only weakness with the Flores defense. They get such a great pass rush. They've been so good on the back end. Now they're weaker on the back end, but so solid in the interior that it's going to be tough for any team to establish the run, any team to develop play action, and any team to have any time to pass. I mean, we're just going to be all over these quarterbacks all year. One last guy that I want to highlight, he is a starter because they will be running 3 down linemen. As we mentioned, they're running a 3-4 defense. Our only nose tackle on this roster is 2nd-year UDFA out of Oklahoma, Jalen Redmond. This guy was on the Panthers practice squad in 2023, played in the UFL in 2024, and ended up on the Vikings practice squad halfway through the year. And we were like, who is this guy? He ends up getting into a couple of games. Number 61 is blown into the backfield. He's the only one getting any interior rush. Ended up finishing the year with only 8 tackles and 1 sack. But the couple of games that he got into, you noticed him. You're like, again, who is this number 61?
Right.
So I think fans and players alike, because I've heard other players talking about how disruptive he's been in practice this training camp. They're chomping at the bit to see Redmond build on those explosive bursts that we saw from him in limited action his rookie year. Backups on this D-line, we got Tyron Ingram-Dawkins. We talked about him a bit in the preseason. Levi Drake Rodriguez has been solid for us as a depth piece. And then sleeper pick, Elijah Williams. I feel like Elijah Williams could step up and be this year's Jalen Redmond. This is another UDFA guy that was a long shot to make the roster, but was constantly giving our first and second team offensive lines fits because he's just so nasty. He's so tenacious. He just refuses to quit, and he earned a spot on this roster. And I know we're going to see a little bit from Elijah Williams this year, and I am going to be rooting for him every chance that I get to see him play this year. So really, really excited about those 3 starters, and I feel like the depth is solid.
I'd have to agree.
Moving
100%.
on to our off-ball linebackers. We have 2 starters this year returning from last year, and that's Blake Cashman, who's an 8th-year veteran linebacker out of University of Minnesota.
Skyuma.
Say that thing for me. Thank you. He was drafted by the Texans, but they didn't sign him after his rookie deal. So then he signed with the Vikings, and he stepped up big last year in year 1. He had 59 solo tackles, over 100 combined, 4.5 sacks, and he had 5 games where he had more than 11 tackles. He was a serious game changer for us at middle linebacker. I feel like he is the classic middle linebacker prototype. He does everything well. He covers well. He plugs the run well. He can rush the passer up the middle on a blitz really well. He's smart. He's tough. He's exactly who you want at middle linebacker. If Blake Cashman's not out there, they're not as good. Same thing with this other guy, Ivan Pace, man. He's a game changer. 3rd year UDFA out of Cincinnati. We've seen this guy be nasty. Last year, he had 72 combined tackles, 3 sacks, and an interception. Of course, that interception was huge against the Lions. Couldn't end up getting that W, but what a game-changing play that was. At his best, this guy is a whirling dervish of chaos and disruption. He will blow up a whole line. It doesn't matter, he's a smaller guy. He will run through linemen, completely disrupt a play, blow up a screen pass, get a huge tackle for loss. He just plays the game the right way. I mean, he is just...
He definitely outplays his size. 100%.
I think so. You know, and speaking of that, there is times where he gets taken advantage of. I mean, if he gets double teamed on the second level by some linemen, you see Ivan Pace on his back. And there's times where his instincts may lead him to the wrong place. And, if he goes and blows up a play on the left side, but let's say it was a run to the right side, well, then it doesn't really mean anything anyway. So sometimes I feel like he does get caught out of position, and that's why his PFF grades are a little bit lower than we saw from his rookie year. So hopefully he takes that step up and finds more consistency in year 3, because the backups I do not want to see step on the field. Eric Wilson was solid for us for years, went to the Packers, and now he's back. I'm fine with him being a special teamer, and that's it. Kobe King, 5th round pick out of Penn State this year. He's solid, but I don't want him to play. I want him to learn under these guys. And Austin Keys, is that another one of our UDFAs?
Who even knows?
Would really prefer to see Cashman and Pace out there over Austin Keys. So that's my only concern. That's really where I feel like this grade is going to take a hit, is the depth of the linebackers. But at edge rusher and D-line, they are amazing. Linebackers are solid. That front 7, good luck running against it. Seriously, these guys are nasty. So
Absolutely.
What would you guys grade them?
So I'm going to be giving these guys a B+. While depth could be a potential concern, I think this is a greatly improved upon unit from last year. As you mentioned, we got Hargrave, you got Allen, you got Redmond still kind of coming into his own here. So, and then, yeah, not to mention these backups in Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, who had a good preseason. Levi Drake Rodriguez, really like him. Just a very positive, uppity type guy who just wants to get after it. And then, as you said with Elijah Williams, he's just kind of forcing his hand into eventually getting some playing time here. Yeah, and then with Blake Cashman, love Blake Cashman, and even more so, I love Ivan Pace. Maybe that's because I have him as one of my defensive players on my fantasy team this year. But what was that like children's book growing up? It's like Ivan the Terrible or like Ivan.
That's exactly what he is.
That's what you see. He is just a fireball. A guy with just so much energy. You looks at him, he just kind of looks insane sometimes.
He's like a toddler running around with scissors.
Exactly.
Ivan the Terrible sounds more like a Russian something or other.
Well, I don't.
I think you're onto something, but I know there's a. I know
let
there's
us
a
know in the
children word, too.
comments.
It's both. It's both.
It's something, yeah. But big fan of Peasky. Ivan Pace, that's his nickname, Peasky. But yeah, it's just we love him. So yeah, I'm going B plus. Feeling really good about this unit. Alana, what do you think?
A. I'm giving them an A. And there's been a lot said because I want to move on to something really, really fun this year that we're going to be able to look back on throughout the entire season. I'm talking about game by game predictions. So week 1, Monday Night Football in Chicago. I've got